Blessings on backorder is the channel phrase of this message. Something that you prayed for, asked for, ordered in spirit, maybe in truth, that was unavailable, maybe out of stock at a time, maybe so long ago that you actually forgot you ordered it, is suddenly about to be delivered to your doorstep, to your auric field, to your energy, to your person, to your being. Something that you asked for, it wasn't available at the time, or it was delayed at such a great length of time that you kind of just put it out of your mind. But as it is with back ordered items, it doesn't mean that your item is canceled, your order is canceled. It just means it's on delay. So as the saying goes, delayed but not denied. And usually with such orders, so much time passes that when it finally shows up to your doorstep, first of all, you forgot that you ordered it. But usually it's with an incitement of some surprise or excitement, because here it is, something that you obviously wanted at a time, but it wasn't available when you wanted it. But here it is now in your possession, and that and that desire in that moment for that particular thing has been fulfilled. So I guess that's something along the lines of what we're talking about today. I'm not sure how deep we're going into it, but that was definitely the channeled message. So much so that as I was continuing to shuffle to channel more, the cards were just like, nope, that's it. We ain't got no more for you. Nothing was popping, nothing was showing itself. So I'm Danae. Hello, hope you're doing well. It's Tuesday, July 16th, 2:13 p.m. and I'm here with a message for you. Happy Tuesday. I missed you yesterday and Friday. I took a little impromptu 4-day weekend to myself, had some fun. Last night I actually went to the it's officially summer when the cities start doing like their free outdoor events, like the concerts and movies and festivals and stuff. So last night was Brian McKnight at the waterfront, at the Camden waterfront, and it was a really good show. He didn't sing the one song that I absolutely wanted to hear live, but I've actually heard him live before. But there's one song that I always look forward to hearing from him, and that's Never Felt This Way. And he didn't sing that. He sang One Last Cry, which is another favorite that I like to hear live. Killed it. But he didn't sing Never Felt This Way. And I don't know, I thought that was a bigger hit. That he sang a whole bunch of other songs that I didn't even know, because I don't really know his newer stuff. And I don't think a lot of people do, because they weren't really singing along on that. But the oldie but goodies, those 90s cuts, those were still hitting, and it was cool. Now, I'll say Brian McKnight is a little problematic for me. I actually was a bit in conflict about going to see him, because I really haven't liked how he's presented himself in the media, regarding his family, his original family, and 3 children, his ex-wife, how he's kind of dragged them through the mud socially. And there was a bit of an ick with how he's kind of pushing off this, like how he weaves in his undying love for his new wife and his baby, his son, the Brian McKnight Jr., even sharing with us a lullaby that he sang about him, proclaiming him as his legacy, and no mention of his other kids, of course, of which when I first saw him in concert, the boys were actually with him, which I feel like it kind of is a treat, to have seen that, because the boys are super, super talented. One of them sounds exactly like him, and they're both extremely musically gifted, just like the stock that they come from. But it was a different energy. It was just him. He had a band, but a lot of track background as well. And throughout much of the performance, he just kept pushing this narrative about how he finally found the meaning in his love songs 15 years ago when he met this new wife, and how he was just singing what he thought everybody wanted to hear before, because he had never felt love. Maybe that's why he didn't sing that song, Never Felt This Way, because that was definitely written in that era of time. But he had never felt love before, and especially not in the way that songs write about it, or even in the songs that he had written. And now, at this stage in his life, 15 years into this relationship, he finally is living the meaning of true love and the meaning behind his songs. And now he's a better writer and a better man and a better father, and so on and so forth. And it's like, I guess you are, and it's cool, and that's nice, but it's something about it, kind of feeling like BS a little bit, because you can't just completely throw away your original legacy, the child that actually is named after you. You already have a junior. Like, he changed his name to be the senior to the new baby, and it's just very controversial, like how he's done things. And of course, there's so many sides to the story when you got grown kids involved and an ex-wife, and they were young when they got together, and the new wife probably don't even know the half of who she really has, him being such a changed man. But I don't know. So that part, like, I almost didn't go, because I'm like, if I would have had to pay, it would have been a no-brainer for sure. But given it was free, it was a beautiful, beautiful night. One of the coolest nights we've had in the past week or so. Not too hot. I actually could have stood to be a little warmer near the water, but it was a beautiful night. And I knew, if nothing else, he wasn't going to disappoint on the vocals, and that he did not. The other stuff was cringe, but the vocals were on point as always. So I don't know why I'm sharing that. Maybe there's some tie into it. I don't know. Maybe somebody's prayer for love or family, or some type of sincere, organic connection is what's been on Backorder, to the point. And like I said, not to discredit the man and his testimony, but it just, I don't know, for you to be so immersed and consumed by love in its purest form, the way you could treat your children that did come from your loins, and the woman that birthed them for you, that actually did the bid while you were growing your career, it just speaks volumes to me. I don't care what they did or what they said, because for a long time they weren't doing or saying anything. It was him having a lot of the commentary about, his past and so on and so forth. And then when his son died, that was so sad. And, so I don't discredit his perspective of things, but I do question his approach, especially claiming to be so in such an evolved state of love or spirit of love. There's just certain things and certain ways of being that you just don't expect to see when that is really true. So anyway, let's see what we got here. And maybe perhaps if we're talking about love being on Backorder, or connection, intimacy, maybe it was in fact on account of there being an unreadiness, in the ideal partnership, in the ideal aspects of this partnership. Again, whether we're talking about people, an opportunity, a place, it's like something just wasn't ready yet or wasn't available at the time, but it seems as though now it is, and it's something that's going to be a surprise when it finally presents itself. or finds its way to you, let's say. Oh, look at this. 3 of Wands, expectation. You can expect something. Something's on the way. It's en route. It's in transit. I saw the Chariot card. I saw the Fool. I saw the Ace of Pentacles. What else? Well, I saw the Knight of Pentacles first before the Ace of Pentacles. So that even gives way to something being delayed and not being quite ready. But as we say in tarot, if it's the Knight of Pentacles, usually it's going to be pretty reliable and dependable when it does show up. Whether, again, that's a person or a thing, it's usually been well curated once it comes to its point of arrival, or to a point of presentation. Like it's ready when it finally gets there. Let's see. Don't get quiet on me now, cards. Now something don't want its presence to be announced, or its arrival to be announced before it's time. Okay, Magician. And what else? Oh no, just the Magician. Yeah, maybe somebody's working on something. They're cooking up something. And it also, as I said, could be a manifestation that is finally coming into fruition. What else with this? Here's another transit card. Yeah, something is being shipped or it's been shipped. Yeah, obviously, because we got the 3 of Wands and then we got the 6 of Wands. The 3 of Wands and then the 6 of Swords. So the delay might have been some turbulent waters or transits on the way. Maybe it got lost in transit at some point in time. Even after it was, it was restocked or it became available, there was still some further delay here. It's giving some type of surprise, though. I saw the King of Cups in the pre-shuffle as well. So maybe something that's really going to make you happy, which we love to see, of course. Certainly incite some type of emotional response. I heard tears of joy. Oh, yeah, like this is, man. It's Six of Pentacles is just really giving extra extra confirmation of something that is due to you. Like it's something that you sent out for, you manifested, you ordered, you worked for, you maybe prayed for, maybe cried for. What's the word? Travailed? I heard that. Travailed, not traversed, right? I think it's travailed. Yeah, like how sometimes like you could want something so bad that you're almost obsessed with when it's coming. Like you checking the delivery date or checking the the estimated delivery date or whatever, and nothing is worse than when you really anticipating something coming at a particular time and then you get that good old backorder alert where it's like, damn, it was supposed to be coming within 5 to 7 days. Now who knows? Like, who really knows? But it feels like something a bit more emotionally driven, of course, here, where maybe it's something that is projected to make life easier, with that Six of Swords, to kind of balance life out, smooth life out. Again, bring some type of happiness, joy, peace, contentment, resource, well-needed resource, stability. And it's like when you've been prayed and cried type of energy. What song is that? Prayed and cried, prayed and cried. Oh, Stand. After you've done all you can, you just stand. Yes, like when you've emoted all that you could, you've asked in as many ways as you could have, prayed in as many tongues as you know how to, considered how you might even transpose your own personal alignment, as in the Three of Wands, like to prepare yourself for this thing. Because when something isn't coming, or it feels delayed, or a prayer feels unanswered, the first, if a wise thing to do might be to look within and to consider where you might be keeping that thing at bay, like say a relationship, as practically as we can all relate to. You praying and saying that you want a partner, you want a intimate connection, and it's like, of course, the elements, the timing might not be well aligned, circumstantially and universally, in ways that are far beyond your holistic control. But then there's also the aspect of you that does have control to consider, have you prepared yourself for what you're actually asking for? So then you take the internal approach and consider, like, well, I say I want this or I want that, but am I really a match for that at this time? Like, am I an attractive force for that? Am I in a place where I'm ready for a partner to come in and share space with me, or share time, or share interest, or connection, or whatever? Like, it's one thing to say it and it sound good, but it's another thing to kind of have like prepared yourself spiritually before anything, to actually receive that order, of which is a very tall order, especially when we're talking about love and connection and intimacy, which I think we very well could be, the way that I just went off on that tangent about Brian McKnight. But even to that point of how, like, he's a notorious love song singer, that's his thing. And sometimes, when you consider love, I know I can say this for myself, you man, you have to kind of consider what it is that you're really calling in. Is it the reality of love and partnership, or is it the fantastical expression of it, like the type you would consider in R&B songs, in slow jams? You know what I mean? Like, love may not necessarily be that, and certainly not all the time, like as picture perfect as it sounds and feels in a slow jam or an R&B song. But it could be as well. There could be if that's what you are in the market for, perhaps that also was the point, to find yourself in alignment with that frequency in order for it to truly manifest in the form that you desire it to, especially in the place of in the consideration of not settling for less than, because that's a point too, where it was kind of like, oh well, it ain't gonna get no better than this, maybe I should just lower my expectations or my standards, or just be more realistic, as they say. So I don't know. Let's keep going though. Maybe it took for someone to actually allow themselves to be more liberal in their manifestation projections, to not shortchange themselves, to not sell their desires short, and to broaden their perspective in ways that may seem to be less practical or maybe unrealistic to some. Maybe the divine actually was waiting for that alignment of liberation of the mind, of the spirit, to actually believe that you're worthy of exactly what you desire to have, and then some, so there it is. As I said before, the limitation, the delay could have been coming from the internal being. And the divine's like, I got this love over here for you, and I really want to give it to you, but if I send it to you this way, the way that your soul desires it, your mind might talk you out of it. Your mind might push it away. Your mind might say this too good to be true, or something like that, and reject it, So I'm gonna just hold on to it for it's not a denial. It's not a canceled order. It's still very much so on its way to you. I'm just waiting for you to be ready to receive it. So it could be something like that. All right, let's see what else we got here. Page of Cups. Yeah, it's like a small offering. Let's see, what's with that Page of Cups? Or a message, could be a message. But something that you might not even take too seriously at first because it's the page. So maybe someone expressing their feelings in a way that feels casual, or it could be someone like maybe holding back a little bit, or not trying to lay it on too thick, trying to conserve their expression a bit so that they don't overstep or overwhelm. Let me see, what's with this Page of Cups? That could go along with, like I said, somebody's trying to craft a presentation, or maybe craft a proposition, an approach, trying to figure out like the best way to make their move. Maybe, I don't know. Let's see. It's like they know they're coming because they ain't no choice. Ooh, Lord, what the Ten of Pentacles. They can't think of nothing else but the possibilities. And that could be a thing too. An overthinking of, there's so much, that someone feels that they're trying to maybe suppress or bottle up into a, in a small compartment. Again, maybe so that they're not overwhelmed and that they don't overwhelm with their expression. But I'm given with this Ten of Pentacles, yeah, it's like somebody already kind of having a vision mapped out of the future. And it's like, where to begin to express that to someone, that they see you as their lifelong partner, or their wife, or their husband, or the mother of their children, the father of their children. Could even be business, that they see a very lucrative business or creative partnership with someone that they feel really strongly about to some degree. And I say feeling very strongly because of this Ten of Pentacles confirming to me that whatever this person is feeling, like they're not quite comfortable yet, or at least assured that the coast is clear for them to just kind of pour it all out. And I feel like it's on account of how it might be received, not on account of uncertainty of how they feel. And that tracks with the King of Cups, who's notorious actually for holding a lot of emotions inside that he may or may not release, and certainly that the other person may never know the depths of, because that's just the makeup of a King of Cups. So it's like somebody with the Six of Pentacles, like not really wanting to breadcrumb in a negative sense, like, shortchange anybody or give, just a, little bit, a little sprinkle, but it's like someone trying to conserve or pace themselves or consider their audience or something like that. Like, all right, this is how I feel, and they got it all mapped out. They see the vision, but they still know that there has to be a consideration allowed for the other person to feel how they feel. Maybe even a conservation for rejection, just in case, or feeling like if they come on too strong, there might be a rejection. Or, and as I said, never felt this way. So there was a purpose. There always is, but I went off on such a tangent. There was the one song that wasn't sung, and that may have significance here. It's like somebody's never felt this way about love, and they don't know where to begin to properly and effectively communicate it in a way that fully conveys their position on the matter, but also doesn't push the person away or the object of their affection away. Wow. I love stuff like that. I mean, kinda, because it's like, these are the delays that are like, what took you so long? Or you waited all this time? Like, usually when a person is taking all this time and consideration, of course, I said with the Knight of Pentacles, it's like, okay, well, at least it's going to be right when it finally gets to you or when it finally happens. But at the same time, sometimes it's like unnecessary delays because someone's just thinking way too deeply about a very simple situation, which is step one, just express yourself, make your interest known, because nothing can happen before that origin point. We're both sitting here stuck wondering or just going on about our mundane lives when it could be so much more fruitful, clearly, with the Ten of Pentacles, when we just get these little formalities out the way. That reminds me of another song Brian McKnight sang, Back at One, when I just said, like, the first step, the formality, And I think he says, 1, you're like a dream come true. 2, just want to be with you. 3, girl, it's plain to see that you're the only one for me. And 4, repeat steps 1 through 3. 5, make you fall in love with me. If ever I believe my work or the love is done, one of them, then I'll start back at 1. Oh, so yeah, somebody's thoughtful about like pouring out too much, and like, with like the page, like the Knight of Pentacles, really wanting to take their time and not overexert the expression or the exchange in a way where it like burns out, where you move too fast, you pour out too much, and then it's like, oh, where do we go from here? That's cute. That's really sweet. All right, let me get one in between here so I can keep the pattern going. It's so crazy how that really did play into the message. Oh man, not the Seven of Cups. Yeah, it's definitely someone like really contemplating where to start. They're wondering, do they have the right cup in hand? Are they presenting themselves in the best way? Is this the right time? Are they geared up to say too much, do too much? You know, again, like I said, considering their audience or whom the receiver of this message. So many thoughts and questions. Like somebody's just like in their head, but also from an emotional standpoint. Uh-oh, here you go. He's getting a little fire up under that ass. Here's the Knight of Wands. And we don't, like, it's giving somebody just like, fuck it. I'm going in. I'm going to tell them. I'm going to speak my mind. I'm going to call. I'm going to text. I'm going to send a message. It's action oriented here. Like somebody suddenly like coming out of their fault. Here it is, the backorder. Turn around, like where I said all of a sudden that thing is just on its way. And the order was pending all this time. Wheels were turning all this time, and then suddenly they got out of their head, got out of their emotions, and decided they're going to take action. That it's no more delay, and they're not overthinking about the outcome anymore. Actually coming with quite a bit of confidence with the Knight of Wands, you know, at this point. And that's a good energy to have on the other side of the Knight of Pentacles, where something's been thought out, well planned, considered, steps have been taken, measures have been made. You know, it's not just flying off the seat of your pants, coming in for a good time but not a long time. This is after Knight of Pentacles. And after, like I said, all of this strong contemplative and manifesting energy where there's work that's been done to finally make someone feel assured that they have the green light. Here's the Knight of Pentacles. That's just confirmation. Yeah, it's like, yep, I thought about this. And it might seem like out of nowhere, like I said, it's been delayed for so long, or out of sight, out of mind for so long. Perhaps you've been single for so long that you ain't been pining over no relationship. Maybe you're quite content. That could be another aspect of it as well, to be quite content and your and your independence in such a way that it's like, if somebody comes, cool, but if not, I guess I didn't have it before, so I don't need it now, type of thing. Like with the package, it's like, well, it's not life or death for this. I just want it, but I don't absolutely have to have it, you know, as long as it doesn't disrupt the quality of my life not to have it, and certainly it better not disrupt the quality of life to have it, then, you know, it is what it is, and whatever's whatever, you know. But that also makes the delivery, that creates a conducive space for delivery, is what I'm trying to say. And I keep hearing deliverance in my head, but deliverance definitely has a, you know, a deeper charge in this case than how I mean it practically. But there could be something to that too, that some things, there needed to be deliverance from some things, maybe some ways of thinking, some ways of behaving, you know, some habits, some thought thought processes, or I don't know, like, yeah, definitely emphasis on old habits. Um, hmm and ways of being, you know, even maybe delivered from desiring the wrong type of thing, like I said before, like lowering your standards or lowering your expectations in a way, maybe thinking less of yourself than what you are deserving of on either side of this offer or this exchange of sorts or connection, where someone may have been contemplative about how much they actually do have to offer and how emotionally available they are, or ready that they are to actually be a contributing force to this ideal of love that they may have fantasized about. You know, again, that difference between the fantasy and the reality and where the two merge. You know, like, what of it is attainable, achievable, and sustainable, particularly by the person that is contemplative about propositioning it or proposing it. And that ties into Brian too, and his, you know, his testimony about not really knowing what love was and having not experienced it, even though he was going through the motions of a partner, a husband, a dad, you know, but not really having a clue truly of what that really should feel like, or what it really means, and from a spiritual perspective, you know, maybe just fulfilling a role or a position or a responsibility that perhaps was taken on too soon. You know, maybe he ordered it up too soon. Obviously, if you know their story, it was kind of one of those, so it's said anyway, those religious, well, oops, I'm pregnant, so we need to get married type of things. Well, that's what she said. He says that she was supposed to get an abortion and she didn't, and so then it was kind of a forced hand at that point. So like I said, who knows what the story is truly, but unfortunately from her perspective, she speaks of it from a loving experience initially, young love that just, you know, just advanced way beyond its maturity, you know. And so they did the best to keep up in the way that they traditionally felt compelled to do so, but we know that usually that falls short or falls apart in some way, shape, or form. So again, this is an order that has been well stocked to a point at, you know, at this point in juncture, where there's a readiness, there's a preparedness, there's an understanding, a mutual desire, maybe even respect to some degree. It just seems like the propositioning party may still be, in some ways, considerate, not so much of if, but when and how so, to make this presentation or proposal. Maybe actually proposal. I did see the Ace of Pentacles. Like I said, like there's something that they want to propose. Maybe somebody's thoughtful about not having the right ring or not having a big enough ring. This compared to the Ace, you know, there's a difference there, but none of that matters when the love is true, for real, for real. You can always upgrade a ring or whatever, but it's all about the intention and the motivation of the proposal. And if all of those kinks have been worked out, there's nothing that all of that other stuff is superficial. It doesn't even matter. I've seen clips on YouTube to this point of like girls in real time, and some of them I'm like, God, I hope this is fake and just put on for, you know, for clicks and stuff. But some of it seems quite real, that girls will straight up be like, I don't like this ring, and they'll just turn down the proposal in real time because they don't like the ring. And I'm like, damn, like if that's not your answer on whether or not you should marry this person, I don't know what is, because that level of rejection is just diabolical on account of not liking the ring. It's crazy. What was that? The three of cups. Yep, there's the bridesmaids. That's funny. Well, something's about to be a cause for celebration, and I've been saying that for a while, right? So it's like the delay that seemed to be a denial is finally lifted. Something's on its way. Someone is on the way. And they really don't want to be told. And look, the Queen of Cups. Oh my gosh. They really don't want their cover blown, I don't think. Because these cards are quiet. And I told you earlier, like when I was pre-shuffling, usually I decide when it's, you know, all right, that's enough channeling, it's time to get to the message. It was like I'm shuffling, nothing. I went from getting a clear message in a short period of time to crickets. So I feel like this is really crooked, but there's no way for me to know until after. All right, so let's see. So this is the object of affection right here. And like I said, somebody that is undoubtedly on the same page. That part, there needs to be no consideration, no further consideration about. If somebody was thoughtful about, well, does she like me too? Or does she love me as much as I love her? Does she see as much of a future between, you know, with us as I see with her? Yeah, it's like somebody's just wondering if their emotions are like, oh, would be over, I don't know, overstated is the word that's coming up. Overwhelming is definitely the other word, but if they feel more for someone than what someone would feel for them, and that is not necessarily a bad thing, but just wondering like if they actually express that, would it be a turnoff or an ick, as I said earlier? I don't think so. Not with the Queen of Cups here. It looks like she's feeling pretty deeply too. The difference is she don't mind expressing her feelings. It's therapeutic. What they say, lethargic for her. There's actually a certain sense of confidence and security that a Queen of Cups feels in being able to express themselves freely, knowing that you're in a safe space with someone that, you know, is also emotionally available, that is understanding, compassionate, safe. Did I say that already? I think I did. Yeah, security is definitely a strong point when it comes to like expressing yourself emotionally, to know that you can share your deepest truths without being judged or condemned, criticized or disregarded. You know, that's the only real desire for the Queen of Cups, is to be in a place where she can just express freely. And of course, the exchange, the reciprocation, of course, but we've already established that that much is true, you know. So you give a Queen of Cups a safe space to laugh, to cry, to be excited, to, I don't know, like, What other emotions are to be afraid, maybe, you know, to be thoughtful, to share. So a Queen of Cups that has a safe place to love, you know, to express their love. Man, you got you a good one. You want a woman in that energy all the time. Ooh, look at this. Yes, you do. You want a woman. That's a win for you. Because the safe space that you create becomes a secure space for you. It's naturally, I mean, with the upright heel Queen of Cups, of course, it's just naturally a mutual exchange. You know, you create a safe space for her to love, you're going to have a soft space to land and to be and to expand and grow. Like the understanding, the compassion, the kindness will always be plentiful when it's given, you know. And here it is, like I said, maybe that was the deep consideration for someone, wanted to make sure that they could match that frequency, that they were on that level of which. And I love that when it comes to considering partnership. Like nothing is more endearing to me than for someone to consider loving you on the level that they believe you deserve to be loved, not just giving you the scraps or what they got on hand, you know, whatever's left over from the last relationship. It's like somebody that wanted to be healed and whole and available and mature and evolved enough to offer love and to create a safe space for love in the way that they desire to have it too. But a lot of times, especially when we're talking about the masculine feminine dynamic, masculines don't always take the extra steps and precautions to make sure that they're just as available and ready for intimacy as they would like to experience from their partner. The female might be ready, the woman, the feminine might be, that's just her nature in many ways. As a matter of fact, we are usually conditioned to be less feminine than it comes natural to us by way of bad experiences, you know, and disappointments and so on and so forth. So to me, for a man to so deeply consider like getting their shit together before, even no matter how much they could love someone or want to be in the presence or company of someone, but to find the value in making sure that they are prepared to give all that someone deserves. Yeah, the delay is disheartening some at times, but like I said, it's well worth it when it finally comes to be. Because then you, like I said, you're not dealing with the leftover baggage from all that they expended in their last relationship, or all that they withheld from years of trauma or disappointments in their own right, or the ways that they may never have learned how to love or to be available for love, to receive love, which is a big one, you know. So for someone to finally get to this point where they're quite secure with the love that they have curated within themselves, that is such a green light situation right there. Like, that's amazing. Oh! First of all, this is what pops out, and I'm going to take it because I saw the Eight of Wands in the pre-shuffle, which with the Chariot, which definitely clued to the advancement or expediting delivery of this offer. Then we got the Six of Wands and we got the Four of Swords, which is to me like having a safe place yet again. Like the victory is finding that place of security where you don't have to overthink anything anymore. Let's just see what's behind here. Yeah, from this place of disempowerment, where, like I said, you feel like you are not safe in your own skin, almost, where you don't, for a feminine energy especially, where it's like you don't even feel like you have the liberty to share how you feel, what you think, what you desire organically, purely. You don't necessarily know how if the other person has the capacity to understand you, let alone the will, But it's something about laying that energy to rest here. I'm going to put these back, but yeah, the end of, look at this. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. The end of that struggle love. And what do we have but as a result of the safe space being created, but an ultra confident feminine energy that feels like they can literally take on the world. They can literally take on the world. And as a result, that's the energy with the feminine holding that space. That's the energy that undoubtedly a masculine is going to benefit from. When you got a woman that feels like completely confident and secure and stable and safe, like that is contagious. That becomes a shared force field, which is why we have to be careful who we connect ourselves to in the first place, because even if whatever you have to offer, a man is automatically going to benefit from that in some way, somehow. So you don't want to be operating off of a deficit or a deficiency either. But this is speaking to me once again, as I said, that two people are now on the same page, in alignment, both available, open, willing, ready to exchange these cups that have been well curated at this time, like this emotional wellness that is now available for exchange because it's been filled from a personal and an internal level, perspective and position. Like I said, I'm not operating on childhood wounds. They're not operating on past heartbreaks that they haven't forgiven. We're not operating on a fear of being vulnerable, like a fear of being hurt again or anything like that. It's like something has been cleared away. Whatever was on backorder, of which, as I said, two people might have been actively either praying for or working toward personally, if not, externally, because it could have been very much so feminine taking the internal approach as well. Like I said, cultivating that love magneticism within self to be a magnetic match, to be a viable match, as the masculine was working on his ability to give and receive love in that same right. It's just something is now in stock. It's in stock and it's on its way. Let me just get one more here with since I had one more with the other ones. Just one more. The nine of wands. And I just honestly feel like that's somebody that's been through the ringer. They've been through the ringer. Maybe both, as is here in between the feminine and the masculine energy here with the 9 of cups. You've been down through there, as they say, when it comes to love, when it comes to trusting people, when it comes to intimacy, when it comes to offering yourself to a connection of any sort with no inhibitions. A lot of us had to be conditioned on the boundaries that we should take the boundaries that we should create that would be healthy and protected for the most vulnerable aspects of ourselves. And in that deconditioning or reconditioning, sometimes we've had to be a bit more stringent in those boundaries, and then ultimately learn how to open up and to trust again, and to liberate ourselves from certain unnecessary confinements, and so on and so forth. But the point of the matter is the work that it's taken to bring, like we saw that 10 of Wands, to bring that struggle love energy within self first and foremost to a point of closure has been well worth it, because this is what it's made room for. Something that, by all, for all intents and purposes, might actually be magical, at least by your standards. 'Cause I've never felt this way about loving. Never felt so new. Never felt this way about love, and it feels so good. Yes. Man, I wish he would have sang that last night. Nothing like him singing it. And I've heard many people remake it, but nothing like his voice. All right, so we got some type of collaboration here, or some type of cooperation, some cooperative effort that's a bit at a standstill, or is in waiting for some type of enlightenment, or again, like a green light. Well, at this point, like, we've gotten all the evidence here that when it's time, and somebody has all of the information. The support is maybe the consideration here. Perhaps from a spiritual perspective, if somebody's waiting on a physical or some type of carnal thumbs up or support, they may be waiting for the rest of their lives for a love like this, because historically you may not get a lot of support or a lot of assurance. Maybe that's what it is, like some type of assurance, or like some type of assurance or insurance of how this will all turn out. You kind of just have to go and see, or wait and see. And you also, in many ways, may not have a lot of folks, or if you're looking, like I said, for some type of carnal stamp of approval, like family, friends that say, yeah, go for it, or family to approve of your choice holistically, or whatever, that can't be the dependency here. Not for love like this, because usually love on a supreme scale, of which this feels to me like something deep and pure and fresh and unlike, again, anything you've ever had. A lot of people don't have a great point of reference to advise on what would be a good time, or if this is the right choice, or how will it all turn out. They just don't have the capacity to do so. But you do. You've done enough of the internal work and the soul searching and the personal curating of your spirit to know what's right for you and what's not, and also in what time. So if there's like a stall out for some what do they call it, stamp of approval, I think I even already said that, from any perspective other than the divine, again, that's a delay that is damn it. That's a delay that is most likely unnecessary and overextended at this point. To have gone through so much trouble to ready yourself and prepare yourself to be your best for someone that you feel is the best, for at least in your eyes or for you, that's a personal choice, proclamation, and affirmation that you kind of just have to go with. Nobody is ever going to be able to holistically advise you on the best thing for you. And that goes for relationships, opportunities, places, people, things, whatever it is. Like, this is a season where you really kind of have to trust yourself and trust the divine, which obviously has entrusted you with some big gift, some great privilege, especially if we're talking about love and like deep sacred connection. Everybody doesn't get to say that they have that. Most people don't actually ever get to scratch the surface of what that looks like or feels like. And mainly because they're not willing to do the preliminary work to be in alignment with it. A lot of us bump our heads and stumble and fall and ultimately settle for the best that we think we can do or the best that we deserve before we ever get to all that the divine had in mind for us. But I'm talking to someone that is prime, pun intended, for such a deliverance as true love, pure love, sacred union, as what I'm seeing here today. So get ready, because it's on the way, one way or another. It don't care how it gets here. It's going to get here however it can, in the words of whatever singer that was that sang that. All right. So anyway, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. This is clearly about love songs. It's probably going to be something about the title, because that's a love song too. Who sings that? Now it's going to bother me not to say before I close, but you know the song. Get here if you can. You can reach me by railway. She said something about a boat too, I think. But anyway, it's like one way or another, this package, this delivery that you already sent out for, that you already paid a price for, whether it be in your time, your energy, your prayers, your effort, your patience even. It's coming. I can't stress that enough. It's already in transit. All right. So again, thanks for listening and watching. Until next time, as always, I'll leave you with peace.